Well, a day after the trade deadline, the Raptors lose a tight one to Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns. 104-100 is your final. The Raptors record now 9 games under 500 at 18-27. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Raptors Night Cap. Randy Urban alongside Sherman Hamilton, Paul Jones, and Leo Rautins. Leo, I'll start with you. You know, outside that fourth quarter, where the Raptors tightened up defensively, it felt again like they were lacking something on that end tonight. Or was it just superior half-court offense for Phoenix?
Phoenix is a good team. They're playing good basketball right now, but I didn't think the Raptors defense was what it needed to be for 3 quarters of this game. Nick Nurse talked about it before the game, how the big key for Denver, they played well offensively, but their defense was locked in, right? They created a lot of their offense from their defense, and that wasn't necessarily the case in this game. And, in the fourth quarter, I think they held Phoenix to 31%, 1 of 8 from 3. But ultimately, how did they lose? An offensive rebound off a great defensive play by OG Anunoby, and offensive rebounds were a thorn in their side all game long. And that's something you can take care of. Size definitely hurts you. Ayton was a factor, but there's a couple of plays where you had guys leaking out, guys trying to get out or not coming back in. And when you're a small team, you got to have everybody in on the rebound. So there was a lot to clean up in this game.
Well, how do you fix that, Sherm? How do you fix getting beat like that on the glass and second chance points and points in the paint at this stage of the game with the team that they have?
Well, part of points in the paint were the fact that Phoenix lived in the paint with their guards. Their guards continually broke the Raptors down off the dribble, and that just compromises your defense on so many levels. I mean, Chris Paul, he was just great at it tonight. I just thought that keeping the ball in front of them was compounded by when the shots were missed, giving up second chance opportunities. And, the size of Ayton only had impact when the Raptors didn't really rebound the basketball. Other than that, it's not like he was on the block going to work and dominating the paint, drop stepping, dunking, and laying it in. So you think about the other ways it happened. Well, some guard rebounding for Phoenix in terms of the offensive end and also the breakdown ability. So how do you stop it? You try to keep people in front of you as much as possible. And that doesn't force your whole back line to have to rotate and move your bigger bodies, even in a smaller lineup, out to the perimeter so you can't rebound at that point. So there's a lot of levels of this. And then on the glass, guards have to just hit people. They have to get in there, get physical, and grind it out against bigger bodies. You might not win every battle, but you're going to win more than you lose if you play it the right way on the glass.
I saw a lot of that, Sherm, in the last game against Denver, to the point where Jokic looked like he was getting frustrated because he had no space. He had a bigger guy boxing him out. As you said, the little guys were coming down, sandwiching him, hitting him. And he was basically the only guy that Denver had sent to the glass. It was different tonight. Ayton did get free. And there were times I felt like he would say, well, I don't need the ball. If there's a rebound, I'll go and get it. And Chris Paul was a master tonight. He was. He looked like a 16-year vet playing the game at his own pace. I mean, just the way he broke people down, Randy, he was wearing out the clutch on these guys, bobbing, weaving, changing speed, changing direction, getting into the lane, jump stop for a short jumper, bringing the defense to one side, finding guys like Saric and Ayton inside. It reminded me of another Phoenix Sun, a guy that Leo and Sherm know very well, Steve Nash, just had total control of the ball game.
Yeah, and Leo, I'll get to that. It's just, for me, it's a little just disheartening because at this stage in the game, you got to be the team that punches first defensively, that hits first defensively, pushes guys out of the way. And it's just that wasn't that urgency that I thought we'd see on the defensive end. But just to Jonesy's point about Phoenix, like how good is this team? How good can they be this season?
The Phoenix, or are you talking about a Raptors?
Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good team. I mean, they're a very good team. I like what Monty Williams is doing with this team. Chris Paul has been a huge addition. Devin Booker is one of the most underrated stars in the game. He's just a tremendous shooter, and he's playing with a lot less pressure on him. And you have a lot of good pieces. Nick Nurse talked about the length they have on the wings, and they can shoot. I mean, all these guys can shoot. So when you have two backcourt like they have, and you have a active big man, and you have a lot of perimeter guys that can shoot, you can do a lot of good things. There's more of a commitment to defense for this team. than we've seen in past Phoenix Suns teams. So, ultimately right now, I don't think they're ready to win it, but
Right.
I think they're a team that's really going to push people, and they're going to be a tough out if you get them.
Yeah, I agree. And you look at this team, it's a bit of a throwback team. They've got a center, they've got a dominant point guard, they've got a great wing player. That's how basketball was played in the 90s, you know what I mean? Where they had the big guy and a point guard, and that's how they ran their team. And you think about their coach, Monty Williams, when did he play?
Yeah.
He played in that era. So it's interesting to see this team. They have a mix of the new style of basketball. They took 36 threes in this game, so they're not going away from the way basketball is played right now. But they've got that old school feel to them as well, the way they play that point guard dominated big man at the basket. And also they have a wing player in Devin Booker who can really, really go after it. So it's just an interesting mix. And I agree with Leo. They're not ready to win a championship, but boy, are they trending in the right direction in terms of taking the necessary steps to put themselves potentially in position to try and contend for a championship.
It's an experience thing right now with them. That's the thing that I see. They're going to get into the playoffs, and they need a taste, Randall. They do.
Yeah, it's interesting because they average 114 points per game almost, and yet they're really good in that half court set. And you got to think that that's going to be great in the playoffs, right? Because it does slow down a little bit, right?
You know why? They got Chris Paul. They do.
Yeah.
And he when the ball is in his hands, he makes the game easier for others. I'll make the decision for you. I mean, look at the way, like I said, look at the way he fed Saric tonight. Look at the way he held on to the ball to the right time to get it to DeAndre Ayton down low. He distributes. He knows when to do his own scoring. And I'll tell you what, at the other end, we talk about Kyle Lowry. Chris Paul came into the league a year before Kyle. You're talking about 16 and 15-year veterans. And he is like Kyle. He takes it personally when you try to take advantage of his size defensively. He is extremely competitive, is not going to give any quarter down there. So they just don't have enough guys with that experience, I think, going forward into the postseason.
Yeah, and it's rubbing off on Devin Booker as well, because his demeanor is changed, and the way that he approaches the game, it just looks so much more focused. And I think Chris Paul has definitely helped that. But Leo, back to the Raptors. Two new guys out there today, Rodney Hood and Gary Trent Jr. Just assess how they did tonight.
For Gary Trent Jr., I thought he did a good job.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. He is who he is, and I saw who he is. He works hard defensively. He's a tough kid defensively, gets into you. He had some really good defensive possessions out there. He took his shots, and he's going to get comfortable, and he's going to know where shots come from. All that's going to get better. But he plays the way I know Gary Trent's going to play, and I like him. I thought he had a good opening night. And then Rodney Hood, again, he's the one that intrigues me. What exactly are the Raptors going to get out of him? Because I think there's, even though he's been one of those guys that hasn't necessarily thrived in different places, I think that he's somebody the Raptors can get something good out of. And so I'm going to be curious to see how it plays out. But you could just see he played like a vet. Didn't necessarily impact the game a great deal, but he played like a vet. He's a legitimate 3 NBA vet that the Raptors now have.
Sherm, your take on the guys?
I thought an interesting moment for Gary Trent Jr. was late in the game. I mean, the Raptors were down 2, and he took a 3, and it was, you look at a shot like that, it's a hero shot. You know what I mean? And you want that opportunity, and he took it. He missed it badly, but the mentality to take that shot when you're just walking into a new situation, your first game, you're starting, and to take that shot, I like what's inside you that makes you think that shot is a shot you can make. So hopefully down the road, he'll show that he can make that shot. But I saw a lot of positives from him tonight on both sides of the basketball. And again, Rodney Hood, to Leo's point, he's having one of his worst years in the NBA from a scoring perspective. So it'll be interesting to see. Sometimes a change of scenery can kind of invigorate your game and give you new life. Let's see if Rodney Hood can get a bit more life in the Raptors organization.
Yeah, Jonesy, just how do you see them? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I see them fitting in really well. One of the things that players like is they get onto a team and they look for a way to fit in. And Gary Trent Jr. coming from Portland, playing with Lillard, McCollum, Anthony, it's not quite the same system, but you've got veteran guys that understand how to play. It's like going to play pickup. You get with 3 or 4 guys that play together all the time and they ask you to run with them. You kind of feel your way through. Don't go too crazy. And I think he'll fit in really well. It's about, getting his shots up right now, watching video, communicating, talking with Fred and Kyle and Pascal, and knowing where your shots are going to come from. I like what the kid has to offer. And I thought when Nick Nurse ran a play for him early in the game, that showed some confidence. That showed, okay, hey, welcome to the club. We're going to get you involved. This is how we do it here. Bring his comfort level into kind of our setting. I like what I see from him, and I like what I think we're going to get going forward.
Okay, Leo, we got about a minute left in the show. Just, they're now 9 games under 500. You got to make this push now. Just a few things to make it happen. What do they got to do?
Stay healthy. I'm still confident in this team. They're not that far out of it, even though the record, scares you a little bit. They're not that far out of it. But to get it and get to where they need to be, they have to stay healthy for the remainder of the year to have a chance.
Sherman, real quick.
I think they're going to have to get back to who they are on the defensive side of the basketball with consistency from the start of games, and don't rely on their offense to really win games. We saw it in Denver, both sides of the basketball. And when they play both sides as high as they did in that game, they have a chance to beat anybody.
Jonesy, you got about 10 seconds.
Play D, play together, and you got to make shots at the other end.
Yeah. Well, guys, I thank you for doing this. I'm really surprised that not one of us was traded. I thought at least one of us were going to go. Sherman, I thought it was going to be you.
We tried to move you, Randy. Nobody wanted you.
Herb, free agent market's about to open up. So don't unpack your bags.
Rent, don't buy.
Appreciate you guys doing this. Next game for the Raptors, Sunday night against Norm Powell and the Trailblazers, 7 p.m. Eastern. See you then.
Thanks for watching. You can click to watch our last episode or to subscribe to the Toronto Raptors YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode.